Alrighty, guys, we're going to keep rolling here in this division, and we're going to talk about my favorite team, and that is the New York Giants. So we're doing 4 today. We're doing 4 draft reviews for all the teams that are in this division. So we are going to now be reviewing the New York Giants draft. So the way the draft shook out, you had the 2 corners go in the top 4, and I agreed completely with what Joe Schoen was doing with the 5th pick, because he looked at the kid Icky from NC State, and he also viewed Evan Neal in the same breath as really good tackles on the right side of the offensive line. And Evan Neal is my favorite pick in the draft. If I were Jacksonville, I would have taken him because he's a foundational tackle in the NFL. He's very athletic. He went to IMG. He's stable on the field, off the field. So Evan Neal, there's really nothing really to pick apart with his game. He can slide well, and he's going to be a rock at right tackle. You also have Andrew Thomas. So that leaves 3 positions on the offensive line that really need to be addressed. I mean, they're banking on John Feliciano from Buffalo and Nick Gates to battle it out, but they're believing on Feliciano to really be that center. Then you have Shane Lemieux, who also got injured but has gotten beat, and he has mobility concerns, but I love the power that Lemieux plays with. Will Hernandez is too small to ever be to really be playing. And so, you look at throughout this draft process, the tight end position, they get Austin Allen, and I think Austin Allen is going to be a real surprise. He's an undrafted kid from Nebraska. He had an unbelievable senior year season. He can really pass catch. He can do everything. I think he's going to be a gem here. So basically, the Giants also in this process, the Giants got Josh Azuda, and Marcus McAfee. So Josh Azudu, I think he's from North Carolina. I think they got 2 North Carolina guys. So I do like that they did get Azudu and Marcus McAfee from North Carolina as well. That's really good drafting on the part of Joe Schoen in that process. Where I question the draft is really taking a number 3 or number 4 receiver high second round. I believe you could have just taken Jalen Petrie as a safety, because the Giants, you look at, I think that they have Logan Ryan back there or Julian Love back there. As a playing in the backfield. They have Julian Love playing as a safety. You also have McKinney. McKinney's very injury prone, or has been in his career. So you could have went with Jalen Petrie in the second round there. If you were going to take a wide receiver, George Pickens or Romeo Doubs, I think are better. You already have Kadarius Toney. Wan'Dale Robinson is 5'8", and how many times is a little guy, Tavon Austin or Percy Harvin, how many times are they great? And I know Percy Harvin was great, and I know Tavon Austin was a decent player in the NFL and was one of the best college players ever, and if not for injuries and situational context, he would have been, a really probably great pro as well. But, taking a 5'8" guy in Wan'Dale Robinson, he transferred from Nebraska. He was playing running back there, so he does give you that versatility of running back and wide receiver. So maybe they see a Deebo Samuel-like, Darren Sproles-like player in the second round, but I believe you can find those gems and those guys in the 5th round. I think you can find those flyers and speedsters, but the Giants just loved Wan'Dale Robinson, so I certainly question that pick. And he was a phenomenal college player, but you're 5'8", you are well schooled. You come from Frost. You come from, Liam Cohen's, Kentucky offense. So Robinson is a guy that can produce. He can beat guys down the field. He's an electric player. It's just in the second round, you take a 5'8", running back / wide receiver / slot guy. It's kind of a guy you can find in the 6th and the 7th round. You can find, your 5'8" small school burner. And the Giants decided to take him really high in this draft. Now, if he ends up being a complete star, so the Giants receivers, you have Shepard. The Giants receivers, if Galladay can stay on the field, Darius Slayton. So the Giants have a depth full of wide receivers and options. Tony even on the field really made some plays, and Kadarius Toney is a phenomenal player. He could just get in and out of breaks. He could stop on a dime. He's a very elusive player. So I was glad to hear Joe Shane said that they're going to keep an elusive, really good football player in Kadarius Toney. So that's really good news for Giants fans because he's going to be good. You also look at Kayvon Thibodeau on that D-line. You now get him, and you get Leonard Williams and Ojulari on that D-line. I always thought that even Dave Gettleman, and you're going to see with these players, I just think that, honestly, the Giants have a quarterback problem because the rest of the roster isn't even that horrible. You have Gary Brightwell at the running back spot, Saquon. So but you do need another running back, and that was kind of a miss. But you got Cordell Flott. He's okay. He'll probably be okay. But you have Holmes, who's a smart player. Aaron Robinson already looks really impressive for a young guy. The entire backfield, I know you got Love and McKinney, and they're going to get rid of Bradbury. So that is going to open up a cornerback slot. Adoree Jackson's there. Rodarius Williams will then compete for that slot, and it'll give the Giants more money. But I don't even know if the secondary is going to be that bad. The pass rush should be really good. Defensive tackle is a question mark for sure. I know that you have Leonard Williams. Dexter Lawrence is pretty good at the defense, and Ojulari. So actually, the defensive tackle is still, bright spot on the team. Then you have Martinez. You have Cam Brown, Spencer Ellerson. Tate Crowder was an unbelievable pick that Gettleman doesn't get credit for. That was a 7th-round gem that really made plays, like won the Seattle game. So the Giants, they really have – I like the depth on this defense. I really do. Like Rodarius Williams, they really hit the secondary hard in these drafts. Julian Love, they've went secondary real hard. Cordell Flott, all right. And then in this draft, finally they attacked the offensive line. So now I know I talked about the receivers, but listen, Galladay and Shepard and Slayton, they've all been injured. The tight end position is, let me think of who their starting tight end. It's Ricky Seals-Jones and Jordan Atkins. So you don't have a rock-solid guy at that position. Seals-Jones is okay. So you're not good at the tight end position. Your guards are totally rookies or question marks. You have bad center play. You have journeyman center play. So maybe they don't care about that position whatsoever. So the offensive line, even though you got 2 tackles, you're still starting. They're young. Andrew Thomas is young. I believe he's going to be in his, 3rd season or second. Yeah, he's going to be in his 3rd year. So he should be pretty good. But Evan Neal is still a rookie. You got Shane, again, who gets injured and has just been a disaster. Glowinski from Indianapolis. So a lot of journeymen, you're not paying the offensive line a lot. But let's see if Marcus McKeithen, let's see if Josh Azudu, let's see if these guys really come forward. Because, again, the Giants did give that guy from Connecticut, they did give that offensive lineman a real, Matt Pearl, they gave him a real opportunity, and he was just inconsistent with his play, and he was a 3rd-round pick that they really thrust into a position where, hey, let's see if you can take over for Nate Solder. All right, so the Giants, again, they're building their team pretty nicely. The Cordell Flott and Wan'Dale Robinson picks are just kind of bland. I didn't really love those picks, to be honest. Nakobe Dean was still on the board, but maybe the Giants love where they are at linebacker because they do have a lot of linebackers. Carter Coughlin, you can throw Ellerson in there. O'Shane Xemenez is still on the roster. So it's going to be a really competitive, actually 53-man roster. It's going to be super competitive. Austin Allen's going to be competing in the tight end room. They do get Bellinger. I don't know how explosive of pass catchers these tight ends are. Then you're combining that with Seals Jones, who is an explosive pass catcher. So the team on paper seems like a fine 8 or 9 win team. I mean, the main points of concern are quarterback play, and that's huge. And Daniel Jones has spearheaded one of the worst offenses really in the past couple of years. I mean, what does Daniel Jones do well? He doesn't have a big arm, and he's not very – he can run fast, but he isn't mobile. He doesn't have good instincts at the position, and he has a really weak arm, and he's really turnover prone. So he's just not that good. He's a great kid. He studies hard. It doesn't matter. I mean, that stuff matters, right? But I mean, he is really in terms of he is almost Blake Bortles-esque, in terms of his production. It's not good. So when you have a bad starting quarterback, you have Tyrod Taylor, and maybe you can win with him. So Tyrod might take over week 4. But, even against the Broncos last year, opening day, Jason Garrett's a bad offensive coordinator, but, I mean, the Giants were just pitiful on offense during that stretch last year. So, again, so many injuries. Golladay was a disaster last year, had a horrible year. Tony, was injured. The offensive line, Lemieux was hurt. So these guys are hurt or either not playing. Nick Gates, injured. The offensive line is so awful on the Giants. Saquon Barkley's never been consistent. Is it his fault? Sometimes it is. He trips up. He's not that elusive. He's either injured or he's just not a consistent back, like even Dalvin Cook and these other guys in the National Football League. So he has some talent. He has some receiving talent for sure, like a Brian Westbrook type of player. But in terms of what has he done, this Giants team really hasn't done anything. What you want to see from Wink and what you want to see from Dable in a weak division is 7 or 8 wins. You want to go 7-10 at least. That's the worst you want to do. You want to go maybe 8 and you want to maybe go 8-9. And if you're 1-3 or 2-3 and Daniel Jones is not playing good quarterback, you go with Tyrod, and then you get ready for next year's draft class where you're going to have Peyton Forn, and you're going to have guys like Dylan Gabriel, and, of course, the top guys are going to be the kid from Alabama, Bryce Young, and C.J. Stroud. So next year, the Giants are going to probably draft their quarterback. So this year, I mean, there's going to be a lot of fundamental growth this season with the new coaching staff. I do like Mike Kafka. I like Wink Martindale. You can blitz those linebackers like Coughlin, Blake Martinez. I mean, it's going to be fun. Cordell Flott can maybe intercept the football. He has longer arms for a corner. Robinson's going to need to make plays. McKinney's going to be very crucial to this defense this year. And then, of course, you have Thibodeau, Ojulari, and Leonard Williams, and those guys, up front got to win, but it's going to be fun in Wink Martindale's defensive scheme. So, again, if the Giants get 8 or 9, if the Giants get 9 wins, I would be pretty damn ecstatic. If they got 8 wins, I'd be all right with it. I'd be pretty happy. 7 wins, that's a tough year. It's another tough season. But I'm telling you, with the talent the Giants have, 10 wins is still possible because this defense has a lot of talent. It can be a top 8 defense in the NFL. The offense just made the defense just drag the defense down. I mean, against the Eagles, the Giants' defense was great. Against the Cowboys at home, I believe that the Giants' defense was also, pretty impressive. So the New York Giants, they have really good defense. They have some special guys on this defense. They kept that unit pretty close, and Patrick Graham was good. That was the bright spot of the team. The offensive line still, again, your guards and centers are not good for the Giants. They're all patchwork guys. They all need reps. Evan Neal's going to need reps. You look at the receiver room. You do have Galladay, who's proven, who's really put some good stretches together. You have Slayton and Shepard. I mean, if the offense is even close to being in the top 18 in terms of offenses, the Giants are going to be good because they're a defensive-led team, D-line-led team, which I really like. All right, and Dable is, I think Dable can be a good play caller. But again, for the Giants, you got to be respectable. You got to be in the mix. Like in November, you can't be 3-8. In November, you got to be like 5-6, okay? You got to be near 500 the whole year and battling. You look at what Atlanta did last year, they paved the blueprint. They were, when Atlanta went 1-3, they'd win 3 straight and get to 4-3, and then they'd be battling. They're 5-7, they scratch and claw to 7-7. There are teams in this league, there are games that you need to win against injured teams or against teams who play poorly. It's the NFL. You're going to get close games, and it's up to you to find ways. And I think Tyrod can win games for this team. I worry about Daniel Jones late in games. I worry about the turnovers. I don't think he is the quarterback moving forward, and neither did the Giants, and that's why they didn't give the fifth-year option. So if Jones ends up being really good, I'll come on here and say like the first 4 years were just all a product of the New York Giants, all a product of Garrett, and I'll say I was dead wrong on that. But I believe that Taylor really has a legitimate chance to play. I see an 8 or 9 win team. I mean, what did I like in this draft class? I mean, what are my favorite picks of the class? I mean, I wanted Pickens, Romeo Doubs, Nakobe Dean. So the Eagles really got a lot of the guys that I wanted. But Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, Thibodeau's going to bring an edge. He's going to be fun, and he's a competitive player. So I really like that selection. I like the guards, too, out of North Carolina, Izudu and McKeefen. Those are positions of need. Bellinger just seems okay to me. I don't know if he can be a starter. The Giants seem to love him, though, so it's going to be interesting. Can he really be an efficient blocker? I actually like Seals Jones as a pickup. I think he's very athletic. I think that the Giants can showcase some things with Seals Jones. So overall, I'm giving the Giants in this draft, it could have been an A+ because you have so many picks. It's going to matter about Cordell Flott. Will he really be a solid corner? But I don't think the Giants really took in. I don't think they crushed the middle rounds all that well. Izudu's going to be huge for this draft because, again, at the top you have Thibodeau and Evan Neal, and those are almost layups, and they ace that part of the draft. But then taking Wan'Dale Robinson, who's 5'8", you then take a guard out of North Carolina who's going to have to be really good. If Izudu's really good, it'll push it up to an A. Because the two guys at the top, if Thibodeau hits and Neal hits, it's going to be a really good draft class almost no matter what. That's kind of how it works. But then it could have been even better because I don't know about Wan'Dale Robinson. I really don't. I don't see him ever being it'll even be tough to get him as a second contract guy. He's just kind of a specialty 5'8", end-around type of Tavon Austin NFL type player. All right, and I think that you could have gotten much better value. I think you could have tried to get a corner, a starting caliber corner in the second round. You're still starting Adoree Jackson, okay? I'm trying to now see who the starting corner is going to be. Could be Aaron Robinson. So, again, you could have tried to go up. You could have taken Booth right there, Calvin Booth out of Clemson. You could have taken him. Instead, you take Wan'Dale Robinson. So, you could have taken a starting corner. Instead, they're housing the market on slot corners. So, the Giants need another corner. Adoree's not even that good of a corner. So, ironically, your outside corners are a position of weakness. Linebacker, you do have a lot of holdovers from the Gettleman and Judge era, like we talked about, Coughlin, Cam Brown, Tay Crowder, okay, Blake Martinez, Coughlin, Spencer Ellerson, Eugene Exeminez. So there's holdovers on linebackers, so you might be okay. Slot corner, the Giants are going to be good. Darnay Holmes, this Flott guy. You put Robinson out there. Julian Love is a versatile player, so Rodarius Williams. So, again, the secondary has so many guys. So, even though I marked the corner a weakness, there's so many options of young players that are entering their second or third year that are really going to start to figure it out in Wink Martindale. And the pass rush is going to be good. So, the defense I'm excited about. The offense, again, quarterback play, interior offensive line, running game, that all is weaknesses. Staying healthy with wide receivers. The entire offense is still not even that good. It's going to take 2 years. It's going to take a young quarterback next year, more offensive linemen to fix it. A really consistent running game, more consistent offensive line, and a good quarter. And once the Giants do that, once the Giants get a really good quarterback through the draft next year, they're going to have a chance to really be solid. You do have Tyrod Taylor. I think that Taylor should even stay next year because Taylor is fine. So the Giants, again, compete for the last wild card. My expectations aren't that high. It's just to be really average. Like 7-10 is kind of like 8-9 and 7-10 is kind of where I think they should be. If it's 6, it's like, ugh. Then I'd mark you down as a C-, like you're barely passing. 5 wins is like a D. That's a bad season. 9 wins is, wow, that's like a B+ year. And an A season is 10 wins. And 10 wins, 10-7, is still theoretically possible in a weak kind of conference. So that's kind of where the New York Giants are in this draft. If I had to give a grade on this draft, you had so many picks in this draft. I do like the guard, so a lot of it is undetermined. I'm going to give them, I gave the Cowboys, I think, a B+. Could have been an A+, but with Thibodeau, Neal, I like Austin Allen too, and getting the guards from North Carolina, I'm going to give it comfortably a B+. Second round, again, if they would have housed it with a splash like Pickens, who I think could be a stud, a Romeo Doubs, a Jalen Petrie, D'Angelo Malone, some of the dudes that that Atlanta got in this draft, Cam Jurgens. Damn. Alrighty, so that is where we stand in the draft process with the Giants. A nice B+, solid draft. Taking Thibodeau was awesome, dare I say brilliant. Get Evan Neal, ecstatic. So that pushes you up to a B+. The other guys, Bellinger, the guards from North Carolina, Flott, you have Wan'Dale Robinson. They're definitely question marks. If not for the first round, this would be a C-looking draft class. The B+ is with Thibodeau. And again, Austin Allen is really going to be the guy to watch. I think he's going to have a really good productive career here. Flott. It's a fine draft. It's leaning, again, like I said, B+ because I have faith in these guards from North Carolina. One of them is going to hit. And then you get guards, you get Thibodeau, and Evan Neal is so good. Evan Neal, like you literally could have drafted Hall of Fame level talent in round 1. That's pushing this draft up to a B+, even though the second and third rounds are real question marks with how these picks are going to go.